Describe a time when you answered a phone call from someone you didn't know in a public place. You should say, when and where it happened, who called you, what she said, how you corresponded, and explain how you felt about the experience. Time breakdown. Introduction, 0 to 15 seconds. When and where it happened, 15 to 35 seconds. Who called you, 35 to 50 seconds. What she said, 50 to 70 seconds. How you corresponded, 70 to 90 seconds. How you felt about the experience, 90 to 110 seconds. Conclusion, 110 to 120 seconds. Comprehensive structure for the question. Describe a time when you answered a phone call from someone you didn't know in a public place. Introduction, 0 to 15 seconds. Suggested ideas. Briefly introduce the situation of answering an unknown call in a public place. Unfamiliar number, unexpected public setting. Mention that you were caught off guard. Taken by surprise, unanticipated, out of the blue. State your initial reaction to seeing the call. Hesitant to answer, confused, intrigued. Example, I'd like to talk about a time when I unexpectedly answered a phone call from an unfamiliar number while I was in a crowded cafe. The call caught me off guard, and for a moment, I was hesitant to pick it up, but curiosity got the better of me. When and where it happened, 15 to 35 seconds. Suggested ideas. Describe the exact location and atmosphere of the place. Crowded cafe, noisy environment, bustling surroundings. Mention the time of day and any relevant details. Midday lunchtime rush, typical busy hour. Explain how the environment made the experience unusual or challenging. Background noise, distracting, hard to focus. Example, it happened on a Thursday afternoon at a bustling cafe near my office. The cafe was filled with people chatting and clinking their coffee cups, which made it quite difficult to hear anything properly. The chaotic environment added to the challenge of answering the phone call. Who called you? 35 to 50 seconds. Suggested ideas. Mention that the caller was a complete stranger. Unknown, unfamiliar, unexpected caller. Reflect on your thoughts about the caller's identity. Thought it might be a wrong number, telemarketer, mistaken identity. State whether there were any signs or hints of who the caller might be. Unfamiliar voice, lack of information, formal tone. Example, the person who called me was a complete stranger. At first, I thought it was probably a telemarketer or maybe someone who had dialed the wrong number. Their voice was unfamiliar, and they spoke in a very formal tone, which made me even more suspicious. What she said, 50 to 70 seconds. Suggested ideas. Explain the purpose of the call. Inquiry, clarification, formal request. Mention any confusion or miscommunication. Misunderstood, unclear, perplexed. Describe how the conversation unfolded. Ask questions, sought confirmation, provided explanations. Example, the caller introduced themselves and explained that they were conducting a survey. Initially, their message was a bit unclear due to the noisy environment, and I had to ask them to repeat themselves several times. It was a bit frustrating trying to understand them amidst the cafe noise. How you corresponded, 70 to 90 seconds. Suggested ideas. Describe how you responded to the situation. Polite, composed, curious. Mention whether you were direct or cautious in your replies. Careful, considerate, direct response. State how you ended the call. Wrapped up, disengaged, concluded politely. Example: despite the confusion, I remained polite and tried to correspond as best as I could. I calmly told the caller that I wasn't interested in participating in the survey. After politely declining, I thanked them for the call and quickly ended the conversation. How you felt about the experience. 90 to 110 seconds. Suggested ideas. Explain your emotional response to the situation. Annoyed, slightly embarrassed, amused. Reflect on how the public setting influenced your reaction. Self-conscious, awkward, distracted by surroundings. Mention if you learned anything from the experience. Valuable lesson. Avoid unknown calls. Heightened awareness. Example: after hanging up, I felt a bit annoyed and slightly embarrassed, especially since I had to repeat myself several times due to the background noise. The fact that I was in such a public space made me feel self-conscious, and I realized that I should probably avoid answering unknown calls in noisy places like that. Conclusion: 110 to 120 seconds. Suggested ideas. Summarize the key points of the experience. Unexpected, challenging, slightly frustrating. Offer a final reflection on how you would handle similar situations in the future. Better prepared, cautious, mindful of the environment. End with a general thought about unexpected phone calls. Unpredictable can happen anywhere. Be cautious. Example: all in all, it was an unexpected and somewhat challenging experience. I've learned to be more cautious about answering unknown calls, especially in public spaces where distractions can make communication difficult. It was a small but valuable lesson in staying composed under awkward circumstances. Describe a time when you answered a phone call from someone you didn't know in a public place. I'd like to discuss a time when I received an unexpected call from an unknown number while seated in a crowded café. Initially, I was hesitant to answer, as I wasn't expecting any calls, especially from someone unfamiliar, but curiosity led me to pick up. This happened on a Thursday afternoon in a bustling downtown cafe. The atmosphere was noisy, filled with customers ordering and chatting. The environment made it difficult to focus on the call, further complicating the situation. The caller turned out to be a complete stranger, and I suspected it might be a telemarketer or someone who dialed the wrong number. They introduced themselves formally, which confirmed that this wasn't a personal call. As the conversation continued, it became clear that they were conducting a survey. However, due to the background noise, their message was unclear, and I had to repeatedly ask for clarification. It was challenging to follow the conversation amidst the cafe's distractions. Despite the confusion, I remained calm and politely informed the caller that I couldn't participate, explaining the noise issue. After thanking them, I quickly ended the conversation, relieved to disengage from an increasingly frustrating situation. In retrospect, I felt a bit embarrassed and annoyed, especially as the public setting amplified the difficulty of the exchange. This experience taught me to be more selective about answering unknown calls, particularly in noisy environments where effective communication is hindered. It was a valuable lesson in managing unexpected situations in public spaces. 1. Receive an unexpected call. 2. Unknown number. 3. Seated in a crowded cafe. 4. Initially hesitant. 5. Wasn't expecting any calls. 6. Curiosity led me. 7. On a Thursday afternoon. 8. Bustling downtown cafe. 9. The atmosphere was noisy. 10. Filled with customers. 11. Further complicating the situation. 12. Complete stranger. 13. Suspected it might be. 14. Telemarketer. 15. Dialed the wrong number. 16. Introduced themselves formally. 17. Confirmed that this wasn't a personal call. 18. Conducting a survey. 19. Background noise. 20. Repeatedly ask for clarification. 21. Challenging to follow the conversation. 22. Remain calm. 23. Inform the caller. 24. Couldn't participate. 25. Explaining the noise issue. 26. Thank them. 27. Ended the conversation. 28. Relieved to disengage. 29. Increasingly frustrating situation. 30. In retrospect. 31. Felt a bit embarrassed. 32. Public setting. 33. Amplified the difficulty. 34. Exchange. 35. Valuable lesson. 36. Managing unexpected situations. 37. Public spaces. 38. Valuable lesson in communication. 39. Complicating the situation. 40. Hesitant to answer. 41. Focused on the call. 42. Challenging environment. 43. Public communication. 44. Telemarketing call. 45. Unexpected distractions. 46. Conducting surveys. 47. Noise issue. 48. Public interaction. 49. Personal call. 50. Miscommunication. 51. Effective communication. 52. Engage in conversation. 53. Clarifying the message. 54. Avoid miscommunication. 55. Communication challenges. 56. Unexpected outcome. 57. Social interaction. 58. Conversational difficulties. 59. Handling the situation. 60. Public noise.